And today we're talking to Casey, and Casey writes, Dear Lori, my 7-year-old son is uncomfortably rude to his grandparents. When we arrive to visit them, he will sometimes look away when they speak to him or refuse to say hello. And then he also tends to give grunts or make inconsiderate comments instead of just saying thank you when they give him gifts. Often, when he doesn't greet his grandparents, one or both of them will then reject him, saying, Okay, if you don't want to kiss me, then I'll just take my toy back. I guess you don't want it. Usually, this doesn't work with him. He tends to respond with, Fine, I don't want your stupid toy. And this just escalates to the point where my parents start blaming me for his attitude and telling me that he has no respect. Punishment doesn't work and he refuses to talk to me about it. I don't know how to make him care about other people's feelings. Can you help, Casey? All right, Casey, I feel your frustration. I have been there, and believe me, I have been there with really understanding adults, and I have been there with some really not so understanding and not so compassionate folks before. Humans like predictability, and the unpredictability of our kids can sometimes put us in extremely uncomfortable positions with family and with friends. I'd like us to look a little bit deeper at the causes of your son's social missteps. If you had to pinpoint it, what would you say that his behavior is most likely related to? Do you think it's social anxiety, a lack of skill development because of his maturity or age, or maybe a lack of a meaningful relationship or connection with his grandparents? It's important to distinguish the root cause of behavior so that you can work on shifting it for the long term and not just end up relying on short term motivators like shame, blame, threats, or even permissiveness. So let's look at a few ways in which you could approach this challenge with your son. My first suggestion would be to set your expectations with an objective kindness rather than with guilt trips centered around your or ideas like respect for your elders. Instead of saying, What do you say when someone gives you a gift? Check in, check your tone, remove the blame, the shame, the judgment, and the guilt, and try something like, I know Grandpa put a lot of thought into that gift, and it looks like he would appreciate you maybe taking the time to notice that. What do you think? This gently encourages your child without putting him on the spot and without playing that respect card. I think it's important that all people are respected, and using status or age in some of these situations can really send the wrong kind of message to our children. And it can even unintentionally leave children vulnerable to certain kinds of abuse and being taken advantage of by adults who may not have their best interest in mind. Now, that said, I think it's important to teach your children socially acceptable behavior, and certainly greetings and showing thanks and gratitude fall into that category. So, my next tip is prepare rather than prevent. When you try to teach lessons about manners in the moment or force your child to express an emotion that he may not even be in touch with in that moment, it can backfire on you. And that stress of being unprepared or unwilling or uncertain of how to respond in the ways that are expected to gain that approval, these can all increase the stress that your child is feeling and cause more anxiety and shutdown and then more social faux pas. I know that it may not seem like a situation where stress is present, but kids experience stress in ways that we may not even be aware of. I was particularly prone to saying the wrong thing and getting really stressed out and selective mutism as a child, and it wasn't planned, it wasn't purposeful, it was that my brain would actually shut down, making even the most basic hello impossible, or that desire to be acceptable and truthful would sometimes blow up in my face because words didn't always come so easily to me. I was much better at writing, actually. So maybe you can encourage your son to show thanks by writing notes. This is where he can take the time to collect his thoughts and edit his words. I wasn't ever trying to be rude or standoffish. So if your child is introverted or socially awkward or sensitive, prepare him by practicing social stories, role playing the appropriate ways to respond in certain situations. My daughter and I love to do this. We love to do a lot of drawing and using art to explore scenarios where she experiences trouble or needs more support. Things like saying hello, joining a group, giving thanks for unwanted gifts. So if your kids are old enough, you can say, Grandma likes to be greeted when we visit her home. It's important to acknowledge people when we enter their space. I know that words don't always come easy to you. I'm wondering how I can help you here. Or what would feel most comfortable to you? Or I know that you were just being truthful with Grandma when you said that you already had 2 of these puzzles and that you don't need another one? And that's true, but I think maybe that she misunderstood and she heard that you weren't happy with it, and I think she interpreted that to mean that you didn't like her. You can say, usually a thank you is all that's needed, but you can always share more about your feelings with me and I can be there to listen. And when you're actually in that moment visiting with the grandparents, instead of using fear-inducing prompts like, well, what do you say? Or, excuse me, you give Grandma a kiss hello, in that kind of tone, you can prompt your child with something like, Grandpa would like to be acknowledged. Would you be willing to give him a high five or a handshake? Or if there is no choice around the situation, you could say something like, I think a handshake or a high five would work for Grandpa. Which do you choose? I know it's really tempting to want to force your child to say the right thing or show that correct action right in the moment. But you have to ask yourself, will making that demand increase the stress for my child in this moment? And if the answer is yes, then your lesson is probably going to be lost anyway, so you may as well save your words and try to connect and regulate. And in that case, you can try out my final tip, which is model it for him. When kids say the wrong thing and that embarrassment rises up, it can be really tempting to shift right into control and that fear of what others think is coming back. But if you really, really want to show your child a lesson that will last and one that he can internalize, I want you to take a deep breath in and then thank the person for him. You can say, you know what, sometimes he has trouble expressing his feelings in the ways that people can understand, but thank you for thinking of him. Or he's feeling a bit hesitant, maybe a little bit nervous or shy, but I'd like to give you a hug for both of us. This will show your child, especially a younger child, that it's safe to engage this person. Sometimes kids are really sensitive to the emotional states of others, and let's face it, some adults can be kind of, how do you say?
The country is going straight into the dumper.
So instead of making excuses for your child, simply aim to regulate your own emotions, gently prompt your child to remind him of what you practice, and if he isn't ready, then go ahead and model that behavior that you hope that he will emulate eventually. Give your child the benefit of the doubt and seek to support his skill development and secure your relationship by connecting strategies rather than reverting to unhealthy patterns of blame, shame, judgment, or guilt. So Casey, that was my teachable moment for you. I hope that you found it helpful, and I would of course love to know, so drop me a note or leave me a comment below and let me know how it's going in your family. You know, my daughter once said to my mother, will you please stop talking because you talk too much? I think my mom was a little bit amused and probably a little bit horrified, and of course I was dying inside at this moment of child innocence and honesty, but we all have moments like that and we all get through them, and our parents eventually all get over them. So I want to hear from you. What has your child said to someone that was just downright embarrassing, but when you take away that social pressure to be perfect and have perfect kids, it was pretty downright funny too? Leave me a comment below and share your story. And if you enjoyed this video, then please go ahead and like it and share it with a friend, because I've got another free call Friday coming up and you can get all the details about this free training at the bottom of this blog post. And I hope that you will consider joining me there. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next teachable moment, and please remember everybody, it is about consciousness, not perfection.